woman like you shouldn't have a wife. She will be my wife. Go! Going!
Why don't you look in a mirror and ask who would ever want to marry someone like you? Heat snaps on the McCook platform. Whispers swell. Dust threads under wagons. The train exhales behind her. Nora Whitfield stands with a carpet bag and a folded letter. 2 days. 2 nights. She faces the man who signed them all. Ephraim Pike. Hat too new. Boots too clean. I expected someone else, he says. The photograph was generous. I won't marry you. Go back. The sign reads, McCook. The wind says, Red Willow County. I came as you asked, Nora says. We had an agreement. We don't, Ephraim answers. No one takes a fat woman for a wife like you. A man near the freight office turns. Broad shoulders. Dusty coat. Hat in hand. Gray eyes steady. Men like you shouldn't have a wife, he says. Then to Nora, quiet. She will be my wife. The platform blinks. You don't have to, she says. I did, he says. He angles his face toward Ephraim. Go. Ephraim spits near the rail and stalks toward town. Cole Hart, the stranger says. Dry Creek Ranch. 8 miles south, past Red Willow Creek toward the Republican River Bluffs. Nora Whitfield, she says. Thank you. I said it to shut him up, Cole answers. Not to trap you. I won't marry for a crowd. But if you've no place to go, come with me. Bed, food, a few days. Then take the next train if you want. I'm an orphan, Nora says. No one to go back to. Then work, Cole says. Keep house. Cook if you like. Read the ledger if you can. I pay your keep and a wage. When you've saved enough, I'll drive you to this platform. And you expect nothing else? Nothing else. They leave the depot. McCook slides by. Livery, smithy, a grocer with a bell. They ride a buckboard south. Cottonwoods mark water. The ridge road runs safe above washouts. Why say wife? Nora asks. Because shame outruns trains, Cole says. Sometimes you stop it with a bigger word. They reach the ranch near sundown. Low house. Long porch. Corrals hold calves and milk cows. You'll sleep in the south room, Cole says. Iron bed. Wool blanket. Barrel water. I'll wash the curtains, she says. We eat early, he adds. 3 hands, old Tom, Jesse, Ben. We work more than we talk. I can work. That night Nora sets bread and kettle stew. Beef sears. Warmth opens. The men eat quiet and sure. Nods serve as thanks. Cole lingers over a second cup. His eyes pause on a small glass, one yellow wildflower from the seep by the windmill. Looks better with it, he says. Rooms do, she answers. After dishes, she wipes fly specks from windows and shakes out curtains. She scrubs until the glass carries sunset into the room. She sleeps hard and without tears. At first light she boils coffee, fries hoe cakes, sets out salt pork and apples. When the men ride, she opens the ledger. Rough sums. Receipts from Clyde Mercer's supply house. Freight marks that never add the same way twice. She draws clean lines. Dates. Loads. Prices. Ridge versus low road. Waste at the east troughs where the sun boils water to air. By noon, she holds a page of fixes. When Cole returns, she hands it over. Skip first week buys. Shift freight to the Ridge Road. Shade 2 troughs. Do small repairs yourself instead of paying Mercer. He reads, looks up, and nods once. Try it. I will, she says. And the house, somehow, feels like it has drawn breath. Tonight, days sort themselves into a clean line. Sunup, coffee, saddles creak, hooves drum the yard and fade. Nora scrubs, hangs, mends. She teaches the stove to obey. She lines the pantry with jars and writes labels that work in the dark. She pulls weeds from the ledger. Columns hold. Calves, salt blocks, fence staples march where they should. She builds a neat truth in pencil each morning and checks it each night. Cole returns at dusk with dust on his coat and the day in his shoulders. He says little. He listens. Shade the east troughs, Nora says. I can sew canvas from the wagon cover. The barrels won't boil away. Do it, he says. Shift half our hay to North Platte on the second week, she says. Prices dip after fairs. Do it, he says. Ben takes the ridge road with a light load. He comes back late but whole. No broken slats. No spilled grain. He grins like he found a coin and tries to hide it. In town, talk curls along the boardwalk. Mail order bride sent back. Big girl living off a rancher. She's after his South 40. Cole buys nails and keeps walking. Nora does not go into town. She makes lists and sends Ben. Flour, needles, twine, rope. Clyde Mercer rides out in a clean coat and a grim smile. You're late on feed, he says to Cole in the yard. Late turns into land. South 40 looks sweet. We'll pay, Nora says, hands clean, back straight. Mercer drags his eyes over her like he is pricing beef. Cook who talks, he says. Cooks burn money. We'll pay, she repeats. He leaves the smell of scorn. That night the gate hinges stop screaming. Someone oiled them. No one says who. The quiet is thanks. On the porch, the windmill ticks. A coyote calls from the bluffs above the Republican River. My brother drowned at the South Ford, Cole says. 3 springs back. Eli. Water rose like a trick gate. I'm sorry, Nora says. Me too, he says. I was upstream. I saw his hat in a brush pile. She tells him the facts of kitchens and markets and ledgers that never balanced unless you made them. He nods like a man learning a new fence knot. Morning heat comes early. The sky is a hard plate. Flies find what little water remains. Nora soaks the yard so dust won't leap into the stew. At noon, Ben lopes in, hat dark from sweat. Mercer's at the depot, he says. Talking loud. Says money's missing here. Says the cook keeps the key. Nora goes still. Cole's eyes lift. Old Tom's mouth tightens. I don't have your key, Nora says. I know, Cole answers. They go to the lockbox under Cole's bed. Key on a nail by the frame. The roll of bills is thin by $10. Light makes gossip run, Nora says. He stood in the doorway yesterday, asked for water. When I turned to pour, he could have lifted the key. Why take 10 and not all? Ben asks. Because 10 is a story, Nora says. All is a crime. They study the scuff under the bed leg and the clean circle on the nail where a key hung and swung. We'll need proof, Cole says. We'll find it, Nora says. Wind rises over the grass. A smell of rain rides it though the sky is bright. Somewhere north, thunder rolls like a wagon coming downhill fast. The day tilts toward trouble, and ranch squares its shoulders. Heat stacks over red willow. The yard crackles. Calves bawl for shade. Nora ties back her hair and opens the ledger. 2 receipts from Clyde Mercer's store carry the same mark, 2 short slashes beside a crate number. Last week's feed was light. The week before, nails short by a pound. The mark sits on both. Tom, she says. Crate 32 last week. Anything odd? Old Tom scratches his jaw. Bottom board felt new. Nails slid in too easy. I was thirsty. Let it pass. Nora sets the slips side by side. Same mark. Same driver. Same day of the week. She looks toward the Republican River. Ben, she calls. Where would a man stash small goods between town and here? In the brush pile at the South Bend, Ben says. Floods leave a tangle. We'll look, Nora says. They leave a note for Cole, checking river brush, back by noon, and take the light wagon. Tom drives. Ben rides ahead on the sorrel. The ridge road runs dry and sure. At the bend, they climb down. The brush pile sits like dumped bones, roots, limbs, a twist of fence wire. Ben pokes with a stick. Cloth snags. He tugs a small canvas bag tied twice. Tom opens it with his pocket knife. 2 5s. Folded neat. Our missing 10, Nora says. He planted gossip, not theft. Tom spits. Mercer's a snake. We don't say snake, Nora says. We say proof. 7s. They go home. Cole rides in as the wagon turns into the yard. He sees the bag and the receipts. Where? He asks. South Bend, Tom answers. Cole nods. Good. They eat and lay out the trail. Marks on receipts. A new plank on the crate. Money and brush. Nora writes dates and the driver's name from the freight book. Harlan Weeks. The pattern holds. Sheriff, Cole says. They ride to McCook. Ephraim Pike is on the boardwalk, talking loud. Cook keeps the key, he says. Cole walks past him. One quiet look ends it. At the sheriff's office, a fan turns on a leather strap. Sheriff Wheeler rubs his neck. What's this? Receipts with Mercer's mark, Cole says. 2 light loads. $10 stashed at the bend. Wheeler squints through the window light. I've seen that hand, he says. Where's the cash? Tom sets down the 2 5s. Found in flood trash, Tom says. Not in an apron. Wheeler nods. I'll speak to the freight clerk. I'll ask Weeks. Truth rarely likes daylight, Nora says. They step out. The western sky turns green. Thunder rolls. Storm, Cole says. Back at the ranch, they pull harness, drag tools under cover, tie down boards. Nora fills buckets and sets them by the door. She latches windows and lays kindling high. Tom eyes the draw to the south gates. If it hits hard, that gate pins, he says. We open early, Nora says. Hold with a rope. Let them fan to high ground. Ben brings a coil. Jesse checks the wedge rail. Cole walks the line and touches every latch, counting what he can keep. Before dusk, a rider ghosts the fence and stops in the yard. Slicker. Hat brim low. Clyde Mercer. You owe me, he says over the first drops. We owe the truth, Cole says. And we found it. Mercer smiles, then spurs toward the south bend. Lightning walks the ridge. Rain comes sideways. Wind hits the house hard and low. Positions, Cole calls. Nora wraps her palms, takes the rope, and runs for the gates. The lie is loud in town. The river is louder now. Rain hits like gravel. Wind drops, then rips up the draw. The yard goes slick. The windmill moans. Wet clay lifts. South gates. Cole shouts. Open early or they'll pin. Old Tom runs. Ben throws a coil to Nora. She knots it around the inner brace. Jesse shoulders a rail. The draw spits brown water. It claws at posts. Cattle crowd, blind. Horns thump wood. Hooves slip and claw again. On my call, Nora says. She plants her boots. The rope burns her skin. She waits for the lift. Now. They heave. The gate jumps. Water punches through. The herd sees light and moves. Not clean, not pretty, but it moves. A log bangs the brace. The rope jerks. Nora holds. Ben wedges the spare rail. Jesse pulls with both hands. Tom keeps the tail tight. More! Cole yells. They swing the gate 2 yards. Cattle spill through and fan to high ground. Mud sucks at legs. Calves bawl and bolt for the fence that means safe. Nora's palms burn under wet hemp. She wants to let go. She does not. Hold, she says through her teeth. Another surge hits. The gate slams her hip. She staggers. Cole covers her with his shoulder and takes the weight. She leans back in. Lightning rips the ridge. For one beat, the world is white. In it, Nora sees a rider at the south bend, near the brush. Slicker, low hat. Mercer. He waits where the water pinches, as if he expects rails to break and cattle to scatter. Forget him, Cole says. Eyes here. She nods. Push! They shove the gate shut against the last rush and drive in the wedge. The lot holds. The creek drops a hand, then another. Rain eases. Wind shifts to a tired breath. Silence lands. Then the herd starts to chew. Everyone shakes. Ben sits in the mud and barks a laugh, then slaps his hat. Tom leans on the post and breathes slow. Jesse studies the rope burns on Nora's hands. You saved the herd, he says. We saved it, Nora answers. Together. Cole ties clean rags on each palm. He does it slow so the cloth won't stick. He does not trust his voice. Thank you, he says. They walk the fence by lantern. 2 posts lean. 1 rail is gone. The rest holds. By midnight, the creek is mean, not mad. At dawn, the sky is washed tin. Steam lifts off the yard. A calf born at night finds his feet and his mother. Cole and Tom ride to McCook with the canvas bag and the marked slips. They bring Ben. Sheriff Wheeler hears them and the freight clerk. Harlan Weeks, the driver, breaks when he sees the marks. He says Mercer shaved loads and paid him $1 to keep quiet. Wheeler writes it down. We'll file charges, he says. Cole nods. Press now. They leave to cleaner light. Ephraim Pike stands in a doorway and looks away. Word travels. Back at the ranch, Nora boils coffee and bakes bread. She salts the stew and tastes once. She sets a wildflower in the glass from the seep. The kitchen looks like it belongs to people who will not run. Cole comes in at dusk. He takes off his hat. He looks at her hands. Do they hurt? They remind me, she says. Me too, he says. He sits. She pours. The worst of the storm has passed the house. Not the talk, not yet. But talk does not turn cattle or hold gates. Hands do. Fall leans in over Red Willow County. The grass heals. The windmill ticks without complaint. Prices dip on the second week, just like Nora wrote. The ledger grows steady lines. The house smells of flour and coffee. The corrals sound like hunger turned back into calm. Sheriff Wheeler rides out twice. He takes statements. He copies Mercer's altered slips and locks them in a drawer that smells of dust. Harlan Weeks swears to the light loads and the river stash. Wheeler says a judge in North Platte will hear it soon. The town listens. Gossip loses its teeth. Ephraim Pike comes up the lane. He twists his hat brim into knots. Nora steps out and waits. "I was mean at the depot," he says. "I spoke like a coward. I am sorry." "You were cruel to yourself first," Nora answers. "Fix that part." He nods and leaves. Work carries on. Shade canvas keeps the east trough cool. The ridge road stays kind to the wagons. Ben learns to read ledger columns and likes how the numbers sit square and true. Tom's knees ache less when a hinge doesn't scream. Jesse starts a straight fence because straight feels good. Cole and Nora eat on the porch most nights. They do not chase big words. They share plain ones. What did the calves weigh? What did the creek say? How much salt left in the sack? Talking, that keeps a place together. One morning, Cole sets a wrapped parcel on the table. Inside is a new ledger with stout paper and a simple leather cover. "For you," he says. "It will keep good things from getting lost," she says. They ride to McCook the same week, not because they must, but because some roads should be walked again with new feet. The platform holds heat and old echoes. A train from the east exhales and settles. A woman steps down, looks about with hope she cannot hide. No one laughs. Cole turns to Nora. The noise folds down around them. "I threw a word here to stop a smaller man," he says. "It wasn't honest then. I can be honest now, if you'll have it." "I will," she says. "Because you worked beside me. Because you listened. Because this place is home when you are in it." The station master clears his throat and smiles. He writes their names in a ledger that smells of ink and sunlight. Tom and Jesse witness. Ben tries not to grin and fails. The vows are plain. A nod, a yes. A shared breath that will be easy to carry. They do not throw rice. They buy nails and coffee and a bolt of muslin. They drive home under a sky that looks washed and kept. The Republican River runs honest within its banks. Cottonwoods shine. The South 40 lies sure and green. That night, Nora moves the flower glass to the center of the table and sets 2 cups. Cole looks at his hands, then laughs at himself. "We'll keep the house," she says. "You keep the gates. I'll guard the numbers." "We'll keep each other," he answers. They eat fresh bread and stew that learned patience. On the porch, the stars hang close as lanterns. Cool air carries the last warm breath of the day. "Do you want to say it?" she asks. "When it arrives," he says. "It is here," she says. "I love you," he says. "I love you," she answers. The words settle into wood and wind and work, and the land holds them kindly.